Well, hello and welcome to the candy wallpapered upstairs hallway of the dollhouse for another reading from The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Joost Elfers for September 24th, the day of the Wanderer. And here at the top of the page is a visual representation of the day of the Wanderer. Well, we got us one of them blankets that's got a strap on it and a handle so you can take it places. Ostensibly when you wander. All right, hey, that's what I'm assuming. In any event, I think that applies, right? At least to the title. But maybe we'll see as we get on with the breakdown. Now, what's more important, however, is it is September 24th, and with that being said, it is somebody's birthday. And with that being the case, I just want to extend you a heartfelt happy birthday. That's right, happy birthday. And if this video finds you a little bit late, perhaps, I don't know, long or short after your a day has already come and gone, well, I hope you had a happy birthday. That's right, I hope you had a happy birthday. But for everyone else who's just joining us randomly, or more importantly, to celebrate the September 24th birthday, I just want to say hello and welcome to you as well. And I hope you enjoy yourself. Now, before we dive in with the birthday redirect, a little something we like to do around these here parts is roll some dice. That's right, it is the DykASSt A birthday broadcast, so we gotta live up to the namesake. I know the name's always changing if you've tuned in before, but hey, that's how we do it here. And we roll it for one other important reason, and that is for synchronicity's sake. That's right. We rolled us a 2 and a 6 for an 8. That's right. Now, what is synchronicity? Some of you may be wondering. Well, it's just you getting out into the world and letting the universe show you it's with you on your side. And you do like to wander, ostensibly. So there shouldn't be no problem at all. It's just this time you're looking for your numbers. And when you see them, you chase after them with a hunger. That's right. And when you see them, you chase them. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You see them, you chase them. So that could mean you see it on the side of a bus, the number 8 line, and it's going downtown, all right? Or maybe it's going out of town for those wanderers. Any event, hey, that would be perfect, wouldn't it? So you jump on that bus and you head on out of town. But then before you leave town, you see the number, I don't know, the number 6 stop. Well, you know what? You got to chase your numbers. So get on off and see what you see. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you find yourself on 2nd Street. That's right. And then you find yourself in front of a store, the number 62 in the address. Well, go on in. Go on in. And what do you find out? It's a blanket shop. That's right. And it's got those ones with the straps and the handle. And guess what? You're missing one of them. You need that for your journey. That's right. So, hey, pick one on up. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it is a 26, 85, I don't know, or 86 maybe. Who's to say? But that's kind of what synchronicity is. It's just things lining up for you. You know, you always needed one of them blankets with the handles and the strap, and there it was, and you wouldn't have got it otherwise. And your trip might have been the worse for it, who's to say? But then you jump back on the bus and head out of town, all right? Yeah, there you go. There's synchronicity. But in any event, I think you get the idea. Maybe roll your own dice if you're not keen on my numbers, but the intention's there for you, so I hope you enjoy yourself if you get out there and get your steps in regardless. All right, in any event, hey, let's dive in with the birthday read. Your month is September, your day the 24th, and your sign is 0 to 2 degrees Libra of the Virgo Libra cusp, and your quality and element is Cardinal air. All right, September 24th, the day of the Wanderer. Those born on September 24th are wanderers by nature and therefore either love to travel or are somehow driven to do so. And this theme of wandering or travel in their lives usually takes a real form, but can also be a metaphor for mental and emotional adventures as well. Indeed, the literal and figurative are not mutually exclusive here. Reading, thinking, dreaming, traveling, both physically and psychically wandering, these are the kinds of activities which interest those born on this day. And some September 24th people travel when young and later commit themselves to what appears to be a settled existence. Others get bitten by the bug in their middle years and are capable of dropping everything for the call of the road. Most September 24 people never completely settle down, even though it may be what they think they want most. Often they move on to the next place, person, or project, each time thinking this is finally it, where they want to be for a long time. And the more aware individuals born on this day usually come to realize that there is no real permanence for them and that their wanderings are due to continue for yet a time, or for yet a while, rather. And the happiest of those born on September 24 may reach a kind of compromise with themselves where they establish a relatively permanent living situation but make small trips whenever they can. Even when tied down, such September 24 people find an outlet for their restlessness in reading, films, and TV, and also a rich fantasy life. In relationships and family matters, September 24 people may well be difficult to please. They are not at all easygoing people to live with and demand lots of time to themselves. And their mates must be understanding of their need for change and variety, and their often open flirtations and asexual attractions of all sorts. As to this latter area, September 24 people can seek out highly unusual forms of asexual expression, if not in their daily life, then in their reading and their mental imaginings. Indeed, those born on this day have little interest in mundane activities or in ordinary people, for that matter. And September 24 people clearly have a need for greater stability, and they must beware of overly intense emotional and mental stimuli that can push them off the deep end. And the problem is that their minds are so active and that their tastes so out of the ordinary that they have real difficulty embracing any kind of normal lifestyle. And some of them can be space cases with their heads in the stars, and others can be surprisingly together in technical areas. Often they are a combination of the two. Though they may be known as oddballs to some, they nonetheless make faithful friends and their hearts in the right place. And they also bring their sense of enjoyment to bear on most any situation and allow others to enjoy themselves too. All right, hey, I'd say that's the most important part. Well, maybe not the most, but it's an important facet. In any event, hey, what I have to say about your birthday breakdown. Let's dive into some notes. All right. September 24. All right. Wanderers by nature with a love and or a drive to travel. And that isn't just understood literally, but figuratively as well, albeit the examples of reading, thinking, and dreaming seem a little loosely applied examples to fit the example by my mind. Now, a lot of folks do as much, and we wouldn't call it anything other than what it is. But that said, perhaps such activities are approached that much differently for you. All right, I'm not going to poo-poo it or change it because it might actually mean something a bit more lofty for you, and perhaps I just don't understand. In any event, perhaps I just don't understand not sharing your special dynamic. All right, but back to the wandering in a physical sense. Some of you appear to settle down, as the reading says, while others make a lifestyle of it. That said, it would seem that this is also a bit of a curse if it finds you desiring to settle down, but always changing course. All right, never able to drill down on life's true calling or pursuit. At least that's what it seems like to me. The term not one to settle taking on its own other meaning, i.e. to come to a decision versus establishing a stable life. All right, but the reading also correlates the idea of realizing there may be no real permanence for you. At least some of you might realize that, which I would argue isn't as endorsed as an option in society and might cause some personal turmoil until it's realized, and it can be an option. So that's an interesting facet. All right, some of us, we're just the society, it goes against the grain. You can't be out there living life willy-nilly. You got to settle down, blah, blah. And so you're going to have that in the back of your mind, and I could see how that could be a source of turmoil to some extent until you're like, you know what, I'm going to do it regardless and fulfill my pursuit of the wanderer's lifestyle, I guess you could say. So maybe that's something. That said, there's also the compromise, not one for the mundane. You seek unusual forms of sexual expression, apparently, to include an attraction to unusual people and activities. And that, I would argue, is this theme's root right there. Not one for the mundane, all right? So you just got to find something that shakes things up. That's what I would argue is the root, not this wandering mentality. You're just in pursuit of something that keeps your interest and keeps you entertained. All right. But maybe I'm wrong. That's just my take. In any event, that's been the birthday breakdown through my commentary. Let's dive in with your numbers and your planets. All right. Those born on the 24th day of the month are ruled by the number 6, as 2 plus 4 equals 6, and by the planet Venus. And because those ruled by the number 6 are magnetic in attracting love and admiration, and since Venus is strongly connected with a social interaction, it can be a temptation for September 24 people to give themselves over to exciting romance experiences. In fact, since Venus is the ruler of their sign Libra, September 24 people are especially prone to such fevers, and often love becomes the dominant theme in the lives of those ruled by the number 6. Also particularly true for September 24 people. Well, all right. Hey, I just have to preface my dive in with the notes that I read this wrong. I read that you're prone to fevers, not such fevers. So, with that being said, my my breakdown here is going to be a little different. So, just keep that in mind. All right. So let's dive in with it. Your numbers and your planets. Prone to fevers, not such fevers in the take. All right. The number 6 and the planet Venus for a magnetism of love and admiration and a strong connection to social interaction. And considering a dual Venus rulership, it may just be that love is the dominant theme in your life, all right? Perhaps contributing to these so-called fevers that the reading mentions. Can't imagine how, but it's fun to think about, and it certainly would be interesting to discover that the fever thing was a real phenomena, even if only realized as, say, predominant flushing, all right? A redness of the face, if you like. Perhaps on account of that intense emotional stimuli. And what was the other one? Oh, that's right. Highly unusual sexual expression. How's that for flushing? All right. I think you got it when I said flushing. But anyway, yeah, I thought it said you were prone to fevers. Hey, and maybe you are. If you are, let me know down in the comments there. All right. Not such fevers. Anyway, hey, that's been your numbers and planets. Let's dive in with your tarot. That's right. One of the more eclectic of the metaphysical ideologies, at least by my mind. But let's dive into it, see what it has to say, expand our horizons if we've never been one for such musings, and just see what it has to say. It's fun. All right. Emphasizing this last point is the fact that the 6th card of the major arcana is the Lovers, symbolizing rather the love that unites all of humanity through integration of masculine and feminine polarities. On the good side, this card indicates affections and desires on a high moral, aesthetic, and physical plane. And on the bad side, unfulfilled desires, sentimentality, and indecisiveness. I don't know how sentimentality is a negative, but maybe if you go to the extreme with it. In any event, hey, what I have to say about your tarot. As if the dual rulership and claiming love takes the theme of the day wasn't enough. You draw the Lover's card as well. All right. But for the skeptics, take heed. The Lover's card does come up several times a month. Anytime there's a 6, ostensibly. There is one in there that doesn't take the Lover's card. I think it takes the Devil, or maybe it's Death, one of those two, because that one only comes up once a month. But you drew the Lover's card for that dire emphasis. All right. What else we got here? And for those that don't want to poo-poo it, hey, by the laws of synchronicity, detective, you aren't allowed to believe in coincidence. So lean into your affections and your fever-prone flushing and avoid the unfulfilled desires and that indecisiveness. Can't have it. No. Maybe a little bit, but yeah, try to lean away from that. All right, hey, that's been your tarot. Let's dive in with your health. All right. Those born on September 24th can experience rather serious psychological difficulties at various points in their lives. And for this reason, it is recommended that they begin some form of therapy or counseling earlier rather than later. And they may benefit tremendously from this process, gaining insight into their unusual unconscious process and learning to deal with their restlessness and overactive imaginations. Meditations may be helpful, but should only be used for short periods of time. Rather than becoming dependent on drugs, to say alcohol should, by the way, be strictly avoided, it says in parentheticals. September 24 people should actively work on seeking a healthier lifestyle, perhaps even going so far as to move to a healthier environment. Gardening, raising their own food, changing their diets to cut out preservative-filled, packaged foods in favor of fresh-grown fruits and vegetables, strongly recommended. Only moderate exercise is suggested for most of September 24 people. All right. What I have to say about your health. I think I misread something here a little bit too. I can't recall though. I'll pick it up if I notice it. Oh, I realize what it was. All right. Serious psychological difficulties in life and therapy is recommended. I mean, if that is true, it's true. Or if you're on a budget, I'd say practice mindfulness. And this is where my misreading was. It said practice meditation. My eyes must have skipped that part. But it said only to do so a little bit. So let's dive into what I had to say. Regularly talk with someone you can trust, and more importantly, who doesn't mind you talking about the same thing over and over again. That tends to be what we do when we're stuck on something, right? But you know what? I also say this book, despite trying to sell you something, is instrumental in empathizing and framing things, because you see all the different personalities and you can sometimes put yourself in their shoes, imagine things. How would I deal with this situation? How would others deal with me if I was this way? And I don't know, sometimes it helps you just kind of like frame it through your life and, oh, okay, what if I change things this way? I think you get the point. But this book's huge for me. I'm just like, wow, I never thought of things like that. Any event, and that's why I'm here too, to help you think about things a little bit differently. Hopefully. Any event, what else I have to say? Empathizing and framing things differently. Also, moderation is a key takeaway with medicine, drugs, and probably all of your indulgences. You know what we're talking about, yeah. Maybe wander to a healthy environment, it says. Organic food and moderate exercise are recommended. And I know that seems a little bit, I don't know, how do you apply that to everybody? But what's interesting is these aren't always the same. So maybe take note, just a little bit moderate exercise, and be very watchful of your diet. Some people that says they don't need to worry about it at all. Either one of them, but who's to say? In the event, that's been your health. And like I said, maybe meditation in moderation there, it recommends in the book. I didn't notice that at first, so take what I had to say for what it is. Season to taste. There you go. All right, let's dive in with some advice, as if the whole health thing wasn't enough. Get your act together, it says. Your unsettled life may be charming for a while, but can grow tiresome. Mundane even is what I'm adding in there. Mundane even, and you're not one for the mundane, right? Perhaps there are those who would like to depend on you more. And don't be afraid to use your talents, all right? Yeah, that's a good one. Stick to one thing and take it all the way. That's right. That's right. All right, that's the advice. I think it's some pretty good stuff there. Oh, I didn't have room in the notes, so I had to write it in the book here. So, ooh, get your act together. It's blunt with the advice right from the get. All right. Well, and some folks need that come to Christ moment, right? And you don't want your lifestyle to become a mundane affair for others in your life. Or maybe you don't care. Who's to say? But like I said, empathize, put yourself in someone else's shoes, maybe see it from their point of view, and it might help you reframe things you might be having trouble with. Who's to say? Any event. And despite how exotic, that's what I said, become mundane affair for others in your life, despite how exotic it might be. But yes, use your talents. That's right. And perhaps there are those who would like to depend on you. That's huge. That's introspective. That's something you might pick up or from the therapy there. If and you go. If you got the money to go. In any event, that's been your advice. Let's take the energy down just a hair and move on to your meditation. All right. Are you ready? Home can be a state of mind. Ooh, very, very simple. Let's do it one more time here. Home can be a state of mind. All right. Hey, I think you can derive a lot of meaning from that as the day of the wanderer, but I'm not going to throw my spin on it. It's your meditation. It's your birthday. That's for you to take home with you. Home, right? Okay, let's move on to your strengths and your weaknesses. Ooh, all right. Your strengths, you're imaginative, you're free-spirited, and you're giving. And your weaknesses, are you ready? Yeah, we got these. All right. Your weaknesses. You're nervous. You're unsettled. And finally, you're neurotic. Oh, neurotic. Oh, boy. Hey, you can handle those, all right? A little bit of mindfulness, seasoned to taste. That's right. Okay, that's been your meditation and your strengths and weaknesses. Let's move on to those born on this day. And when we dive into those born on this day, I like to take a moment to focus on something that I find important personally, and that's your passion in life, all right? Outside of the wandering, ostensibly. See, I get out in the world, meet folks, ask them what they do, and more importantly, if they like it, and a lot of times they don't. And so I think finding out who was born on this day, who got themselves in the book, put their stamp on the cultural zeitgeist, if you like, is great to figure out what their passions were, and they might help inform us of what ours are if you don't have one or can't figure it out. Or more importantly, how to make money at it. You also get to see who shares your company, and that's sometimes fun, right? But in any event, yeah, just this life that we live, sometimes it doesn't afford you time to put in the work to figure out your passions. So maybe we can take some inspiration. So let's find out who was born on this day. All right, we've got F. Scott Fitzgerald, the jazz age short story writer and novelist of The Great Gatsby, and also Tender is the Night. We have John Marshall, U.S. Supreme Court Chief Justice, a statesman, and he helped establish the Judicial Review. And it says the Liberty Bell cracked, tolling his death. That's interesting right there. Jim Henson, the puppeteer, Muppet creator, film TV director, and producer. It was interesting. I've been to the Liberty Bell, and I don't remember them saying anything about that. Anyway, moving on. Linda McCarthy, the photographer, musician, and wife to Paul McCartney, and heir to the Eastman fortune. And we also have Mean Joe Green, Pittsburgh Steelers defensive tackle and the 5-time All-Pro. We also have Jim McKay, radio, TV sportscaster, and host of The Wide World of Sports, and a 12-time Emmy Award winner. We have Fats Navarro, the jazz trumpet player, and it died at age 27. You know, that's early, unfortunate. But I will say, it's like the jazz players always got really cool names, like 8 out of 10 times. What's the fraction on that? 2 out of, or 4 out of 5, something like that. When you bring it down. We also have Phil Hartman, comedian, a comedian and TV actor, and Saturday Night Live fame. And what some of you might not know is he did a lot of album cover art. Pretty interesting. Look that one up. We got Joseph P. Kennedy II, the U.S. Congressman of Massachusetts, and the second oldest of Robert's 11 children. We also have Anthony Newley, a British actor, author, and a lyricist. We have Mayfred Warner, a NATO Secretary General. Svetlana Beryosova, a Russian prima ballerina. Probably said her name all wrong. Those Soviet names get me sometimes. Russian, more appropriately. Mark A. Hanna, industrialist, financier, Republican campaign chairman, and a U.S. Senator. We also have Cheryl Crawford, the New York producer and director. John Mackey, football tight end and made famous Super Bowl catch. We also have Patrick Kelly, a fashion designer. Charlotte M. Sitterly, an astrophysicist. John W. Young was a U.S. astronaut. We also have Germaine Bazin, a French art historian. And a Stephen Bechtel, an executive in a construction engineer. Well, it doesn't sound like someone who made their mark on society. I might have to look him up. Stephen Bechtel, however it's pronounced. And since I butchered a lot of them names here, let's do some butchering here. It's not done in malice, it's just hooked on phonics. Didn't work for me, especially with the Russian names and the French and the Hungarian and the Greek, and there's others too. There's a whole smorgasbord there. In any event, that's been those born on this day. Hopefully you took some inspiration. I know I read it kind of fast, and you probably have to look some of them up. But yeah, hopefully you drill down on a passion. All right, in any event, at least you found out who shares your company. And that basically rounds out your birthday reading, except to say your season is fall. Your sign, once again, is Libra of the Virgo Libra cusp. Your quality and elements is cardinal air. And this has been September 24th, the day of the Wanderer, from The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Youst Elfers. This book makes a great conversation starter. It's going to get the ice broken, both literally and figuratively, considering its girth. So yeah, get one for your coffee table. And if you need something to help you dive into the mindset of other people, great place to start. That's right. So with that being said, more importantly, it's your birthday today. I just want to wish you a happy birthday. And for everyone else who's here to celebrate September 24th birthday, I hope you enjoyed yourself and you join us for your birthday reading. Once again, happy birthday. And lest we forget your daily numbers. I think those were them. I bumped them at some point. It might have been a 6 there. I think it was a 2 and a 6 for an 8. That's right. I bumped them, like I said. Get out there and let the universe show you it's with you on your side, even if you're headed out of town. That's right. Okay, Day of the Wanderer, September 24th. Happy birthday once again. I hope you had a good one. Or you do have a good one, depending upon when this finds you. All right, take care of yourselves.